Everyone, I'm Jude, the goddess astrologer and alchemical initiatrix. I'm so happy to share some astrology with you. There's some massive astrology that just happened this week. We're on the precipice of so many big things, and I want to talk to you about Pluto and so much that's coming up, and also some announcements. So I used to do daily astrology forecasts and card pulls right here on the Light Goddess channel. And this, as you can see, I'm building and growing this channel, and it takes so much SEO and analytics and behind the scenes work to do so. And please subscribe to the channel and like and share this with your friends, because that will grow the channel and allow me to bring you more. So if you're loving the content here, then I can do so much more. The more energy is here supporting it. So I really appreciate the support here. But I was doing daily astrology readings and forecast here, and I love it, and I really want to get back to it. And also I don't want to do it for 50 views. I just don't. But what I am doing is most likely daily forecast, at least weekly, in the Light Goddess Facebook group. So the link's below. You can join that for free. You do have to give your email and answer the questions to join it. So if Facebook does some glitch and it doesn't prompt you for the questions, go to the group and click on the button so that the questions will come up. Otherwise, I will not let you in, and I'm not going to chase you down and message you and all of that to get you to answer the questions. So Facebook has a glitch that doesn't prompt the questions to come up. It's a pain in the ass. Don't have solutions to it yet. It's been like this for a couple of years now, so really annoying. Would love for that to be resolved, but that's that. So that's how you can get a lot of great content, insider Light Goddess content. So also know that I do astrology and soul coaching every day on TikTok at the Goddess Astrologer. So I would join TikTok. There's so much amazing videos there you can go back through. It's not old news. It's amazing support and encouragement and upliftment to help you on this path. There's some things that have come up that I want to talk about, because we have to realize that who are the Pluto generations that are alive today? And Pluto Virgo, Libra, and Scorpio generations are the generations that are particularly activated, but also Pluto Leo generation, and then Pluto Sag generation is up and coming. They're really just starting to hit their Saturn returns and so forth. And why is this important? Because I do evolutionary astrology, galactic astrology, traditional astrology. I combine. I don't ever see through one lens, because I'm greatly understanding of all that is, and the Piscean, Neptunian understanding of the Gestalt, that there's never any narrow box we can put things in and Virgo shit out. We have to include the whole. And as having my MC on the Great Attractor exact, I'm meant to help people understand the inclusive whole Gestalt picture, not taking the pieces and trying to understand things from one little piece. It's kind of like the being a toad in a well, where you can only see the sky above the well, that circular piece of sky, and there's this whole other sky out there. Sag can be really narrow. Taurus can be really narrow. Scorpio can be black and white and really extreme and fixed. We have to understand all of the 12 archetypes, and we have them all in our chart, but we have a predominant set of archetypes of the 12 signs within our chart. And I'll talk for a moment on this, because I think this will help everyone so much, that we have all 12 signs in our chart, but we have a predominant set of signs, archetypes that are up for us in our chart, and that we're working with, which means we're working with their polarity, and we're working to grow out of the shadow aspect and into the conscious, work with that archetype. We have to understand the signs are not sun, they're not somebody's sun, they're not people. The signs are deep archetypes that describe all areas of life: mystical, intangible, invisible, seen, tangible, visible, all realms, psychological, energetic, astral, mystical, all of it. Everything in existence fits into the 12 signs somewhere. They're deep, massive, big archetypes. So when you start working with the world archetypally, symbolically, going back to story and oral tradition, going back to your interconnectedness with all of life, going back to your intuition and instinctually led way of living, things will come into balance and right harmony for you. And it doesn't mean you're not lost sometimes. We are lost sometimes because we are too in our head. And being lost is Pisces, medicine. because it is helping us to stop trying to think it all out. Thinking, our brain only knows, it regurgitates, it's chewed gum. It only knows what it's already been through. It's a receiving tower, it receives and channels, and it transmits, but it doesn't create new things. Whatever's new comes through it as a receiving tower. And so we have to realize that the air quality and that our mind is a specific consciousness that has specific qualities and ways of being. Like Uranus is everything that's ever happened in the past lives, etc. So we have access it through Uranus. So to understand what the air consciousness is and what thinking is and what it is not. Thinking is not where answers derive. That will come up from within you. You know, it can come through your thinking faculty, but not from you thinking it and like trying to make it happen through your thoughts and figure things out. Now, with that said, figuring things out can also be a skill, but when you're feeling lost, something else is wanting to be activated, and it's because you're not listening and seeing and hearing. We are blind all the time that we are learning to see. And so feeling lost is this Pisces strategy to get you to go in and listen and hear inwardly. And if you're not doing that and you're keep telling yourself you're lost, you will keep feeling confused. Our thoughts create our feelings drive actions. And so many of you out there need to manage your mind, and you're not doing that. And I can't tell you how much empowerment is on the table for you that you are leaving on the table if you do not manage your mind and if you do not understand the difference between circumstances and thoughts and feelings. They are different things. So many of you, when you're in my coaching chair, I ask you how this thought makes you feel, and you give me more thoughts. And I'm asking you for the feeling. And so I'm really encouraging you, don't leave this empowerment on the table. Go back through the Light Goddess podcast. The link is below. There are nearly 500 episodes teaching you mind management, teaching you this empowerment. And why does empowerment matter? Because then you are confident, then nothing stops you, nothing gets in your way. You have unwavering belief in yourself. I had this sign specially made for you because I want you to be able to have unwavering belief in yourself, because then there's nothing that you can't create and there's nothing that you can't make happen in your life. But you have to understand, sometimes there's a journey to make something happen. The big vision is 5 years or a 10-year vision or a year vision. We want so much like these quantum leaps and the mystical and these miracles and these magic, and it happens, it does happen, but it's not in the way our ego thinks it, and it's not in the way that it's sold by people out in the manifestation money making world. Not that that's wrong or bad, it's just we have to have discernment. Like, use your Pisces, Taurus, intuition, inner knowing, while also using your Virgo discernment to understand what's bullshit, what's not, what's a charlatan, what's evil. What's an evil person, but here's a thread of truth that's good from the evil person. It's not Scorpio, black and white, all or nothing. So we have to look at the Pluto generations that are alive today. And I'm doing a podcast episode on this that'll be up by midnight tonight, and it'll be an amazing podcast episode. So I encourage you to go over to iTunes or Spotify and subscribe to the Light Goddess podcast, and it is the Light Goddess logo, so you'll be able to recognize that clearly. It's on the YouTube channel if you don't know, if you're new here, but it is but you can't see phones on Zoom very well. But it is the Light Goddess logo. There's some other podcast that, yeah, you can't see it. We're shit. Knew that was going to happen. But it's the Light Goddess logo, and that logo is everywhere, so you can see it. And that's what's on the podcast cover with me doing a handstand. So, and it has nearly 500 episodes. So the other Light Goddess that's on Spotify, like, has 3 episodes or something, and that's not us. So, and so if you subscribe, you can go back and listen to the old episodes, which are not old. They are not outdated. They are wealth for you for free. So look at the Pluto generations. We have Pluto Leo generation to Pluto Scorpio generation. Let's just go with those for now. Then what does that mean? We all have a Pluto in our chart, and where our Pluto is in our chart means that we are that generation. So Pluto Libra, Pluto Scorpio, Pluto Sag, Pluto Virgo generation. It means that we are that generation. It means that that generation is helping the earth to evolve and do its evolutionary intention and purpose. And so as a whole, as a group, we are furthering Earth's evolutionary goals and intention, the soul of Mother Earth, Goddess Earth. Also, what it means by house and sign is that that's our soul. That's also where all of our wounds and trauma is. So then what does that mean? That means that the opposite polarity of that Pluto, which would be Aquarius through Taurus, means that that's our evolutionary intent. So if you are a Pluto Virgo generation, then your evolutionary intent is Pisces in the opposite house of your Pluto. If you are the Pluto Libra generation, then that means your evolutionary intent is Aries in the opposite house of wherever your Pluto is at. If you are the Pluto Scorpio generation, then that means that your evolutionary intent, the whole goal of your soul incarnation at this time around, is Taurus in the opposite house of your Pluto. And so for Sag generation, it would be Gemini in the opposite house of your Pluto. And if you are Pluto Leo generation, it would be Aquarius in the opposite house of where your Pluto's at. So looking at it from this really broad perspective, that means the evolutionary intent, the whole purpose of those of us alive on the earth that are taking action in the world, predominantly at this time of life, is our goal is Aquarius through Gemini, the conscious, non-shadow Aquarius through Gemini. That's our evolutionary intention. That's what we're trying to do. So what is Aquarius? Humanitarian efforts, caring about the collective, caring about, humanity. It's impersonal, but it doesn't really care about the individual, but it cares about humanity as a whole and our evolution, our species, and its innovation and its individuation and liberation from what? From the ideas and values of one person being under a dictatorship, being under unhealthy pride, egomania, narcissism, all of Leo's shadow. And also, which has been what has been running the world. We've been under a dominator, patriarchal society for 5,000 years. We left the goddess culture and all of the understanding of our interconnectedness with all of life, our intuition, our instinctual nature, oral tradition, being connected as a community and family and home, and the matrilineal line, and the honor and reverence for the divine principle, along with women, and respecting and loving women, which means that we respect and love men because we respect and love all people. That's the feminine principle. Then it's been narcissists, psychopaths, and sociopaths at the helm running things for the last 5,000 years. And that is the distorted, unhealthy Leo. And that is the opposite of the Aquarius polarity that is for humanity. And to come out of the egomania, like, the dictators, the Hitlers, the billionaires, the small factions and groups that are infiltrating money from the US under the guise of false pretenses and false lines that they're saying that the money's actually for, the extra constitutional government groups that are running and that are basically embezzling money from the American people, and all of these things happening all across the world that we don't have to worry about. We already infiltrated the patriarchy. We don't have to worry about it just simply by being born. All you have to do is create and live your big light and your big purpose. That means you have to be empowered. That means you have to heal the disempowerment, which means you have to face where you feel like you're a victim. You have to face where you feel helpless. You have to face where things feel unfair and unjust. Believe me, I'm Pluto Libra generation. Shit feels unjust. I've dealt with injustice like my whole life on micro and macro levels of proportions I can't even explain to you, that you would never understand. If I told you, I'd burn off both your ears. Like, it's crazy the injustice that I've dealt with. And it's part of the plight of, Pluto Libra generation. And so then we look at the Pluto Virgo generation. They have to do Pisces. The evolutionary intent is Pisces. And so the assignment is Pisces, which is the gestalt, the whole picture, which is stop separating everything into all of the details and all of the complicatedness, but put it together in the whole, trusting spirit, trusting and surrendering to the all that is, to a higher, grander picture, to your own connectedness with all that is, that you are that I am, that Sanskrit saying. and sinking into a spiritual life and believing in the spiritual life instead of only counting and relying on the tangible. These archetypes present in very different ways for very different people. I've seen it present for some people where there's just so attached to the analytical Virgoian tangible reality world, and then add to that some Libra components or Saturn components of 10th house stuff of like how things look and the optics and what everybody thinks about me and what the world thinks about everything. And wow, you have a confuck all, of a challenge. We all have the challenge in our natal birth chart, but we all have gifts and amazing talents, and we all have a blank page where we get to create what we want to create. And we are capable of it. Whatever you want to create, you're capable of. The things that like you could sit there and be like, well, I can't do this, I can't do that. Again, first of all, recognize the victimhood and the disempowerment there. No one's going to save your ass. You're going to have to face it and deal with it. And it's not easy. It's not easy. We have to nurture and love ourselves through that shit. And it's a journey to heal it. But if we don't ever begin, we will never change it. And if we just keep looping around and doing the same old shit, and we keep looking for answers and looking for information, and then we loop around and we do the same old shit, and we keep looking for answers, we want the quick fix solution, the quick button answer. But that's not how it is. That's not how it is. And so we have to realize that Virgo, Pluto, that Pisces intention is connectedness with the all that is, the Neptunian Gestalt understanding of life, and surrendering and letting flow help you and guide you, and not having to be the servant Virgo, the slave, the self-sacrificer that does it all yourself, but letting everything come in to help and support you. And that's also part of, some people's Pluto Virgo journey. And then we have the Pluto Libra generation, which is Aries. We need to be self-directed. We need to do it from ourselves. We need to orientate ourselves within ourselves of the I am, and stop being orientated to like, well, other people think this is okay, or other people will direct me, other people will guide me or show me the way or know the answer. No, you have to know the answer, guide the way, take the action, do everything yourself, and be orientated within yourself that I matter, I'm here, I have something to say, I have a purpose. And I'm the one that has to initiate it and do it and believe it, and not expect anyone to go along with me, not expect any help, not need the approval or the aplomb or the praise, just to be self-directed, to be autonomous, free and independent from outside external authority, sources, belief systems, etc. So that's that Aries Pluto polarity point. And then we have the Pluto Scorpio generation, which is a Taurus, evolutionary intention, which is all about doing it yourself, self-sufficiency, being able to understand the innate values that you have within yourself, to create something that sustains you and provides for you, and not wanting it to come from somebody else or trying to exploit somebody else to do it or use everybody else's resources to do it, but to use your own resources, your own inner skills, talents, abilities, and values. And that's something that happens over decades. It's not something that happens over years. And so for that generation, it's not an easy one, because Taurus shit ain't easy. Taurus shit connects in to all the matrix programming and all of the industrial fascist programming that we have in the culture about pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you just got to work hard. But here's the thing, for the Pluto Scorpio generation, they do just have to work hard. And it depends on all of the other factors in their natal birth chart for how that plays out. Because, for example, I have Taurus heavy in my chart. Like, working hard was no problem for me. I've done manual labor. I've done every kind of work you can ever think of, like, and shit you'd never think of. Like, I fucking shoveled cement in a cement kiln, like a giant cement kiln. Like, dude, you just don't even know. I've done a lot of work, but a lot of different types of things that are really unexpected. So it's like realizing that for Taurus, it's about self-sufficiency, but it's not about being a slave and a workhorse and doing work you don't love. But that might be something you have to do to be able to work on your dream on the side. Or you could put all the pressure on your dream on the side to make the money, when that's going to stress you out, make you anxious. Anxiety causes us to not take action and to be immobilized. And, I'll tell you, building a business, you have to understand that when you have a vision or a business, what that means is it means that you are developing yourself. There's no better way to develop yourself than to try to scale a business, to make $1 million, or to make your wild, audacious dreams come true. It is self-development. And if you look at it in that way and frame it that way, and let that be your target, that I'm developing myself, of course, I'm going to basically be saying, let me get a cup full of insecurity. Let me get a cup full of self-doubt. Let me face all of my inner demons and shadow and issues and failure fears and everywhere inside me that needs to be healed or changed or shifted, or looking at my blind spots. That's what making your wild, audacious dreams is all about. That's the path you begin to walk. So do you want to walk that path? Do you really want your wild, audacious dreams? Because that's what it is. That is what it is. I'll tell you, I cry the whole way building my business and growing my business and scaling my business and helping my clients and figuring shit out and learning new things and stretching myself and growing myself and doing the inner work. I'm crying the whole way. And if you are not, you're probably not developing yourself at the highest levels. This shit is not for the faint of heart. It is hard out here for a pimp. I'm telling you, if you are on the leading edge and you are someone that's shining light and you are trying to do the inner work and do something big, then you are going to face everything in behind closed doors within your psyche soul. And that's what it is. And if you want to create massive amounts of money or some big impact in the world, then you have to create value in the world. You have to create value in the world that helps humanity, and then you get paid to do that. And figuring out how to do all of that is part of the journey of business. And that means reading books and learning things and figuring it out as you go. There's no button you push where all of a sudden you figure it out. And so Taurus is not easy. And for some Scorpio generation, their hard work is going to feel like really hard work, like shoveling cement. And for other ones, shoveling cement is going to be like, oh, no, I could do this all day. I don't want to. It doesn't feed my soul. It's not like part of my purpose, but it's no big deal. I can do it every day. Like, that's how I am. Like, I can do that kind of thing all day long. It feels good even a little bit, but like, do I want to do it for the rest of my life? Would I like basically die inside of my like psyche and my soul? Yeah. Like, I can't do meaningless work that, isn't about something of greater, something Neptunian, something that has great meaning and purpose and that helps humanity. So Uranus. So we have to realize, and then the Sag generation, let's go into the Sag generation, even though they're like coming of age, it's about that individuating from all the religious control and indoctrination and thinking for themselves and connecting to the higher divine truths, Sag, conscious Sag, rather than, the dogmatic and the consensus status quo and the religious, man-made truths of, shadow Sag. And, and coming out of that, I don't know it all. I don't have the truth, and then everybody should do it this way. That's shadow Sag. And coming out of that, which is not the easiest thing, to Gemini, which embraces all areas of life, which is very curious and interested in people and is willing to not know something or be like, hey, what do you think about it? And communicate and interact and connect in this very, willing, participatory, cooperative, kind, like curious, fun, wonderment kind of way. Gemini synthesizes information and collects all of this data, curates data from everywhere. And it collects it all. It doesn't have a problem with like, oh, I don't know, that means that I'm inferior. Sag has inferiority issues, so it's got to deal with that. Scorpio has polarity, like too black and white thinking, all or nothing thinking, too complex, too psychodrama issues, and the darkness and stuff. It's got to stop doing that dark intensity. And Pluto Libra generation has the codependency issues and the, wanting to partner and wanting to like be enmeshed with another person and being kind to everybody else instead of themselves, and not putting themselves first, and not being self-directed, and not being autonomous, being too, merged with other people, and too concerned with social belonging, and too, I just had a note to myself about this. Where are you? Well, I don't know where I put it. But it's just like too much social belonging is that shadow Pluto Libra. And then the Pluto Virgo is like too self-sacrificing, too trying to do it all yourself, too complicated, too about the tangible world, the work-a-day world, not letting people help you, not seeing the spiritual, all that is, I am that I am, not understanding the surrender to the all that is, to the universal heart, and co-creating together and letting spirit being first and foremost to elevate that Pluto Virgo to the next level. We don't get rid of our Pluto. We don't get rid of our South Node. We just want to start elevating it and get out of the shadow aspects of it and stop living in the shadows. And we want to go to the and for the Pluto Virgo, and then for the Pluto Leo generation of coming out of that unhealthy pride and that too individual, all about me, the lights are all on me vibe, to the humanitarian interest and sacred activism of doing something for humanity and for the greater whole, and using the ability to be on stage and self-possessed and entertain and perform, and having healthy pride and belief in self to help others have that, and to help others understand it's okay to be vulnerable and be in your heart, wear your heart in your sleeve, the beautiful side of Leo, and to be so fixedly focused getting some art made. That's like the beautiful parts of Leo. And so these are the people alive today are Pluto Leo through Sag generation. And there's some Pluto Cancer people, but I'm talking about the Pluto people who are the people alive today in the collective that are really actively engaged in changing the world, and who are changing the world whether they know it or not, or are consciously doing it or not. We are affecting the quantum field, affecting, grandmother goddess spider, affecting the web of life, all, whether we do it consciously or not consciously. And my guides just gave me a big message and download that they want you to understand that we are all affecting the whole, whether we know it consciously or not. And so can we begin to sink into love, come back to our heart, and let that be the compass always, with this overview of what our intention for everyone alive today is. Our intention is Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and the conscious expression of those archetypes. Gemini, embracing all areas of life, diversity, so unity through diversity. Pisces is unity. Pisces is the holistic understanding of the all that is, the greater picture, surrendering to the co-creation of our life and letting our soul be up front instead of our ego personality. We got to have our ego personality, have the smackdowns and have, not be driving the bus. We need our soul. We need to be centered in our soul, which takes, the journey to do that and the willingness. And sometimes, the universe just keeps giving us the smackdown to our ego, and it just happens depending on what our soul's intention is, and it hurts and it feels like shit, and we go through so much turmoil with it, or we engage with it actively, or both, because we just don't know what we don't know. And Pisces and Aquarius doing things for humanitarian purposes, and Pisces and Aries being a very clear, I am here, this is who I am, I claim my yes and no, I'm assertive, I don't mess around with this like social politeness bullshit where I never say my no and I never decline, and I try to be like, well, maybe, well, in the future, well, we'll see, instead of just saying, no, I'm not interested, no, I don't want to do that, I can't. You don't have to make an excuse. You don't have to explain to anybody. Just say fucking no when you mean no. I'm telling you, this is going to change your life, to start owning your no and your yes. This, not speaking up when something's not transparent in the world, not speaking up when you see somebody leave their kid in a car at a Target. That happened to me recently. Not speaking up when you see things that aren't done well, that aren't done right, that aren't above board, whatever it is, whatever you want to put into this category. Not speaking up is why kid sex trafficking happens. It's why women get raped and abused. It's why women, that if you are a woman who's out in this world, that you get sexually assaulted all the time. I don't know how many times I've been sexually assaulted. Men drag their finger across my ass because it's an enclosed space and they think I don't know, that I don't read energy, that I know when it's by accident and I know when it's not. That, it's like this is why this stuff keeps happening, because we don't speak up. And you have to face the horrible way people behave when you do speak up. They will admonish you, they will put you down, they will try to make you out to be the crazy one, or say you're the problem, or you're the common denominator, you're the issue, or alienate you, or exile you, or get you out of the group, or weed you out of a job. All these things happen, but that's indicative of abusers. That's indicative of people who are psychopaths, sociopaths, or narcissists. and a very low level that's indicative of people who are just confused and part of the consensus, and not thinking for themselves and not doing their own inner work, and scared and trying to just go along to get along on a lesser view. And so that's that Aries. And the Taurus is self-sufficiency, owning our value, owning it's self-love at the deepest levels, which you got to believe to make your wild, audacious dreams come true. Self-love never stops. It only deepens. It's only ever increasingly part of your journey. It's self-value. It's knowing what you have to offer as value in this world that creates money, because money is the way that we pay the bills and exchange, value at this moment in life. If it was seashells, then we would be focused on getting seashells. We have to understand, we have to look at money differently and understand what money is. Money is just a value exchange. It's nothing more than that. It's neutral. Money is neutral, but we have all of these thoughts about money. And so if you have all of these thoughts about money, you have to realize that's your money bullshit. And your money bullshit is going to keep you from money. And you got to get clear on that. And I teach all of that in Light Goddess. Light Goddess is a monthly live coaching experience with me. Starts on June 1st. You can come in and you can get hot seat soul coaching with me each week. So it's only for women. Sorry, guys, I'll be working with men later, but this is for women. But I do one-on-one coaching with men and women. So understanding the Pluto generations, I think this will help you so much to understand what we are collectively doing in this life. We are doing Aquarius, Pisces, Aries, Taurus, and we are doing Gemini. This is so beautiful. If we look at May 23rd, it was Tuesday, yesterday. I'm filming this and uploading this on Wednesday, the 24th. So on May 23rd, yesterday at 7:44 a.m. and 44 minutes, 44 seconds, we had a moon conjunct Venus. This is a portal opening up. This is a new beginning. This is connecting us to a new Venus cycle. And it's at home for the moon in Cancer, and it's at 17 degrees in 1 minute. And it's this activation of the Cancer intuition and nurturance. The moon reveals the consciousness in the darkness. And this is about revealing the consciousness in the darkness. The Cancer archetype is little understood. It's a very deep archetype, and it is about consciousness, and it is about walking through this earthly world, and then self-nurturance, and our ability to understand emotions are the bridge between our ego personality and our soul. And are we emotionally masterful? People just let that go in one ear and out the other. But are you an emotional alchemist? Because if you are not going to be making your dreams come true at the highest levels. I promise you. To make your dreams come true, you have to be an emotional alchemist. You have to become an emotional expert. I'm an emotions expert. It's been my life's work to do so. And this is what we do in Light Goddess, and this is what we do in one-to-one coaching, is you learn how to become an emotional alchemist. Because if you have big dreams, you have to feel big emotions. And if you're willing to feel any emotion, and you know how to release it, and you know how to stop it from making you behave in ways that you don't really want to behave, that are not getting you the results that you want in your life, look how much power you then have. You have to realize how important empowerment is. And so this is so beautiful, because Cancer is about, are we nurturing ourselves through this hard-ass journey of being incarnated on earth as a soul, and all of the challenge and the pain and the loss that we go through, and all of the directionless times where we feel like we've lost the plot. And this week, the sun ingressed into Gemini, and so we have a new month for our sun. Our sun is now in Gemini. We are out of Taurus season and we are into Gemini season. And Gemini is all about what I was talking about earlier, embracing all of the areas of life and data synthesization and data curation. And Gemini is curious and fun and playful and youthful and loves to connect and communicate. With this Cancer energy of Venus and the moon, we might feel like we really want to be emotionally secure and depending on where you're at on your inner work journey, you may be doing behaviors of overeating, cleaning when you mean to be working in your business, trying to talk to friends and find someone to talk to, someone to connect with, someone to be with, instead of doing the work in your business or doing the things you want to do in your life, doing that Aries of being, you know, your own unique human. Who is it? Who are you inside? Being able to be comfortable and really entertained with yourself. And so what makes you emotionally comfortable? And beware of the first good solution, because what makes you emotionally comfortable might be chocolate. But if you're doing 4 of these a day, that might not be what your digestive system likes. That might not be helpful or useful for your pocketbook or any area of your life. But it might make you feel emotionally good. But could you feel emotionally good from a nice sunny day, a long view of distance out in the country, the beautiful grass and trees and the birds and the animals, and connecting with all that is, and doing some meditation or a walking meditation, maybe exercise? If you're an Aries moon, you need exercise. If you're a Gemini moon, you need to talk. So meeting new people, you know, what is your moon? Because understanding your own personal moon is how you can feel more comfortable and safe and connected. Okay, your Taurus, Mars has ingressed into Leo and will be here for a while. And we're going to have a period of time this summer where Venus is going to move into Leo and retrograde in Leo. And so it's going to be about the solar feminine, and it's bringing us back to bringing the feminine principle to combine with the Leo principle of the light and the heart and the vulnerability and the healthy pride and healing. Venus is this deep healing. Venus is communicating with the moon about healing, cancer, nurturing, and then is going to move into Leo. So Mars and Leo is this very focused on creative self-actualization. What makes you feel? What art are you making? Is you yourself? Are you yourself a piece of art? One of my favorite songs is When I Paint My Masterpiece, and it's a Bob Dylan song that the Dead redid, and many people have covered this song, and it's a great song to listen to and understand, or at least the vibe of it, because you realize that you are the masterpiece, and it's your whole life's journey, and the journey is the answer. And walking through this life in this beautiful way that sometimes you're on your knees crying and just beside yourself, but if you do the work we do in Light Goddess, which is, I just, you know, some people don't have the purview of the work that we do in Light Goddess, but I have nearly 500 podcast episodes helping you understand it. You know, of doing pen to paper thought work, where you understand your thoughts versus feelings, and you're not conflating the two, and you understand circumstances versus thoughts, and you are consciously choosing your thoughts, and you understand what the hell to do with all your 60,000 unintentional thoughts a day, that if you indulge in, are creating the life that you don't want, and creating the old patterns and spinning you out and looping in the same shit, never like thinking you need to figure something out. When you don't, you need to manage your mind. And so realizing that your life is art. And if you can look at yourself as art and learn how to manage your mind, reprogram your subconscious, and become an emotional alchemist, I'm telling you, these are the answers. You know, I don't know how, like, I am somebody that searched for the answers for my whole life. I was 8 years old on a stool with my mother saying that if I could just figure out how to heal, I can accomplish my dreams. And I knew that. And I checked in with that belief sometime earlier this year, because I was like, wow, I didn't realize I'd have carried this since I was 8 years old, and this has been my lifelong mission, and I just didn't even realize that, like, this has just been in the forefront. And is this still true? Do I still subscribe to this? Am I consciously thinking that this belief is a good belief for me to be acting under? And I'm like, yes, I feel like this is actually truth, that this, you know, and again, like, you know, one person's truth is not another. Truth in one moment is not truth in another moment. Wisdom is what works. So you have to realize that. But I'm talking to so many people, when we heal, we're not blocked and limited, because the things we are blocked and limited by are the things that we refuse to heal, the things we're in denial about, And often, sometimes we are fighting because we just want someone to see us. We fight so hard, and we're so entrenched and so committed to the victim part of us because we just want somebody to love us and see us and be like, I see you, I love you. And that's where you need to do men's circles, women's circles, get into groups where you witness. I do women's circles, and the sacred circles that we do in Light Goddess are not like where we're like, oh, we're going to do some breath work and we're going to do some journaling and all this kind of shit. Like, that shit can be cool, but that's not what we do. We do hardcore women's circles where you have probably never experienced an experience like this, where you just actually get to be your real true self in a confidential, safe space and be witnessed. And where you get to witness others, no matter how uncomfortable it makes you. Which means that if you're a coach, a healer, a guide, or a mentor, which all women here are, divine feminine soulpreneurs here in Light Goddess, then your number one skill you should have is the ability to hold space and to know when to do it and when not to do it, when to interject and when not. And so we need space held for us. We need witnessing as humans, but nobody is doing that in this world. And everybody's trying to get that and doesn't know how to ask for it, and the other person doesn't know how to provide it. And this is why there's been downloads across so many seers out there from our guides, me included, that are trying to help people understand that we need to do men's groups, we need to do women's groups, and we need to be witnessed, and we need to learn how to witness, and we need to learn how to hold space. So I'm telling you, this Mars and Leo is opposite Pluto in Aquarius, is all about Pluto and Aquarius. The collective is revealing where we don't know how to make our life art. We don't know how to creatively self-actualize. We don't know what that is. We've been in survival mode for too long. Pluto, we've been in survival. We don't get it. And if we've solved for survival, then we get comfy, or then we try to solve for middle class. But have we ever solved for our extraordinary greatness? We were taught in the collective, the superlatives, to be the greatest, the best, better than everyone else. We're all trying to be better than everyone else. The superlatives, the consensus, status quo, training, and social conditioning that we got. But what you have to understand is there is no the greatest. What there is your greatness. And if you seek to keep pushing the edge of your own greatness, pushing the edge of your own extraordinariness, not only will you be on a journey of healing and self-discovery, self-love, and self-development, but you will be able to make value and make art in the world, but you will be able to creatively self-actualize and make a masterpiece of your life that can be an example to others that are lost and blind in the dark. And you don't understand what the ray of light of the example of your life can be to someone else. There are authors who wrote a book that one's dead, and this other woman, she doesn't know me from anywhere. But because of one line in her book, I was buoyed for 10 years of my life because this one line she wrote in this book. And these are like murder dog mysteries. They're not, something like some deep tome or text or on some deep subject, but she's beautiful writer and writes beautiful prose. And this one line she wrote that I found like 20 years ago, I kept with me for 10 years, and it's still one of my favorite quotes. And I come back to it, and I come back to it all the time to lift myself up in moments of need. And she'll never know how she affected my life. And that's why we have to realize how much we ripple and we affect the whole when we go shine our light in this world, and we go do our work, and we handle the obstacles, which is our own inner junk. This grand cross from Pluto to the South Node, to Jupiter and Taurus, newly in Taurus, to the North Node, and to Mars, newly in Leo. This grand cross is active for a while, and Pluto will be squaring the nodes all year. And Pluto squaring the nodes is showing us where the issues are, where the wound is, where we have traumas, where we have healing. Pluto squaring the nodes. Pluto is that first planet beyond Neptune. Neptune is the all that is. Uranus is the, is the individuation and deprogramming all of the Aeonian glamour and the astral field, illusions, thought forms, thought viruses, group think, survival fear that makes us, from the primal limbic brain, that makes us want to go and do the same old shit we've been doing and repeating and repeating and repeating in human history. And Pluto is that planet beyond that, is the first planet, the first body in the Kuiper belt, and it's pointing the way. It's like showing us like what we need, the material we need to deal with, what's hidden. It's the psychological, it's the stuff in our psyche, it's what we're trying to heal, to resolve, to elevate. And so square the nodes right now with the Taurus Scorpio, about all of the shadow and the fear and the survival fear that makes us go in to do what our primal limbic brain says, instead of our prefrontal cortex that has the ability to think about our thinking and make conscious decisions about what thoughts we choose to entertain and to allow ourselves to indulge in, which thoughts create emotions, emotions drive behavior. Behaviors create all of our results in our life, our dreams, our manifestations, what we get in our life. And so what are you creating with your thoughts? And if you want to start creating your big, wild, audacious dreams, then come into Light Goddess. You can find out all about that on the Light Goddess, on the goddessastrologer.com webpage. And Saturn and Pisces, about how malleable our reality is, that we're no longer being bound in the consensus status quo, the matrix, the 3D dimensional world, and people are changing and growing too, whether they're conscious about it or not. It's all shifting, it's all malleable, it's all so influx, in shift, flowing, moving. It is not static anymore. Neptune is at home. So Neptune is ruling the Saturn, and it's very strong. And we've been getting message after message after message. All of those new moons at 1 degree, and then the Aries new moon at 0 degrees, and then the Aries new moon at 29 degrees. It's all, been getting so many messages about our return to soul, and now Saturn and soul, Saturn society, Saturn tangible reality, and Pisces soul. And we're undoing the Council of Constantinople of the 11th canon in 869, where it said, no, we're taking spirit out of the trinity of spirit, matter, and soul. We're undoing what Wundt and Pavlov did in the 1780s, 1870s, in the 1870s, where we had Saturn and Sag in 869, and we had Saturn and Pisces in the 1870s, where they took the soul out of science and said, no, this is science without soul in it, this is messing everything up. And now we had more duality, and we went deeper and deeper into duality through separation rather than duality through unity, which we must do duality through unity, and unity through diversity, not conformity. So these are the big things that we're talking about. We have this Venus moon portal. What are you creating? Create something, meditate, do a ritual, do a fire ceremony, do a walking meditation, but plant a seed here for your feminine genius, for your wild, audacious dreams. Invoke the wild woman within you that has feminine genius, that matters and has something amazing and a big impact to do in this world. Uranus here, still in Taurus. This is the awakening of the feminine. This is the awakening of the return to intuition, Taurus knowing, sensing, the walking through the world that Taurus does in a very tactile, sensual way, which means instinctual. It's soul, it's connected, it reads the symbolism and the archetypal world of all that is. It understands what the leaves turned upside down means. It's going to rain. It understands when the movement of the birds is such. It understands the cry of the crow or the hawk. It reads the energy on the street and the way the cars are moving on the highway and what's up for us in humanity. And that's what we're doing. And Jupiter, having moved into Taurus, is so amazing. Jupiter will be here about a year. Jupiter is about learning and growing and experiencing. And how do we really gain wisdom? Jupiter is about wisdom. How do we really gain wisdom? We must go through experiences where we don't fucking know.
and where we don't get it. And that's how we acquire wisdom, is actually going through the experience, lived life experience. Book knowledge is not wisdom. Those are two different things. Wisdom is knowledge plus experience plus humility, which means, to have humility, it means our ego got a smackdown. And that's a good thing, because we don't want to be directed inside of ourselves from ego and personality. We need ego and personality, but we want it to be just the talking piece of the vehicle for the soul. And we want to be centered within our soul, and our soul to be leading our life, our self, our personality, ego, our bus, and to be driving the bus in our lives. So I hope this forecast helped you understand some things. Just had some things to get out there. I'm not necessarily doing anything regular at this moment with astrology forecast, except for the monthly new moon and full moon videos every month. But it's wanting to come out of me. So it's, I don't know, I'm in process with it. So we'll see. But I'm so just wanting to share this with you. I hope this serves you and helps you. Please go check out the Light Goddess podcast episode on these Pluto generations, where I go in deep to this and understanding this. I hope this helps you have more of an overview of what the people alive today are doing in the world, what our purpose is as a collective, and what we're doing. And I hope it's fun and really fun, because this shit is so much fun for me. So I hope that this is really fun and interesting and lights you up. I'm sending you so much love. If you liked anything in this video, please like it, please share it with a friend so it can help and support them and uplift them, and subscribe so that you will not miss an episode. I have some interviews coming out where I talk to some amazing astrologers and some amazing people, and bring out some consciousness expanding, frequency increasing information and conversations and dialogue. So I can't wait to bring that to you. It's coming out soon. So look for that in this channel. If you subscribe, then you'll be notified when those hit. So I'm sending you so much love, and I'll talk to you soon. And if you'd like to book a pick your price astrology reading with me, you can do that at thegoddessastrologer.com. I'm only doing this for a limited time. You can pay between $55 and $297. My normal price is $297. Please play as close to that as you can, because I do put all my love and time and attention into it, just like any other chart reading. But I want anyone to be able to book a reading. And if you felt like you honestly did not have the money, then pay what you feel you honestly can. So go to thegoddessastrologer.com and you can book that now.